Oh, yeah. Share this. Make sure you share this in the comments. Leave, share this. All right, I'm gonna try this one more time. I feel like that things preceded that live that led me to making a live, and I'm not surprised that the police came by at all. But I want to try to go back to what the original point of when I started doing this live was. Okay, so we're gonna step back out into the parking lot. I'm not gonna go through the picturing. I ain't gonna go through the imaging again, the imagining again. But I'm gonna go through the purpose for each thing that's out here. Okay, let's let this person drive off. Okay, so again, Tyrus Jones was shot by Officer Dominic McNeese of the Rockford Police Department in October. Okay? We're out here to bring awareness to that shooting taking place. He was unarmed at the time of him being shot. Not only was he unarmed, he was fleeing, and he was shot twice in the back. Mikey Guzman was hit by a car in South Beloit by South Beloit Police Department. Okay. Excuse me, it's the elements. And Jovan, who was killed by the Metro Enforcement Agency, the court case against those officers is supposed to go to trial in January. So that is what we are out here for. So let me try this one more time, okay? And I don't know what's going on with the thing that's on the motorcycle. Let me try this one more time. This first canopy right here is for people to sleep and to eat in. It's plastic surrounding the sides of it, so that way the heat can stay within the canopy so people don't freeze to death and die. All right? Now, again, if that is, we're outside City Hall. So now again, if that seems like an extreme measure for you, for people to have a canopy set up outside of City Hall to sleep, I want you to first question, what is the reason that these people will feel the need to go to these extreme measures? And I want you to then question, would you think those were extreme measures if it was your loved one that was shot in the streets? Okay? So that's where we at. So that's what that first canopy for. All right, this canopy here, this canopy has food in it. We've been here, I don't know, it says how many days on there. I think it's been 30 something days, excuse me, I forget. But the food that we have in here is things like chips, it's applesauce, small snacks. During breakfast hours, somebody will bring breakfast, a hot breakfast. During lunch hours, somebody will bring a hot lunch. During dinner hours, somebody will bring a hot dinner. The people that's here use gloves and sanitize their hands, and that food is served to the people that staying here. And then throughout the morning if it's breakfast, throughout the afternoon if it's lunch, throughout the evening if it's dinner, people continue to get served those items, okay? And so this is a microwave, which is the main reason for the necessity of the generator, because the microwave, the generator is used to generate electricity for the microwave to be plugged into, so that way if people come late in the middle of the night, they can still have a hot meal. Or if people come in the middle of the night, they can still get hot coffee, hot taco. Now, that's the dude who lived over there on a motorcycle. Now, I don't mind this man being on a motorcycle at all, but it's disruptive, but it's within his right to do that. It's completely within his right to do that. I'm not gonna go over to that man and be like, can you stop doing that because it's inconveniencing me? So what gives anybody the right on public property, where by the fact that we've been here for 32 days and haven't been arrested, it's clear that we have the right to do this. What gives anybody the right to feel like they can force us to be out of this space because it's inconvenient or because it's disruptive? I'm gonna keep on doing this whole So let me show this over here. This is a kerosene heater. This heater is used to make sure people do not freeze to death. All right, to make sure people do not get pneumonia. That's what this is used for. Again, now these construction signs, these orange construction signs, we did not purchase these construction signs and bring these here. We didn't purchase these and bring these here. This area, hold on, I got trying to get the focus right. This area was designated by the city of Rockford. They brought these signs here, okay, and they designated this whole area as a protest area. This whole area designated as a protest area. Hold on, I'm hitting the wrong buttons. So I want you people to understand that we have been here for 32 days. We've been here through rain and snow. We ain't made it through how to deal with no hail or sleet yet, but we've been here through rain and snow. It's been proven that we within our rights to be here. And I want people to understand the reasons that we have these campuses, the reason that the generator is out. Now again, we are going to have to put a third canopy up, so that way we have another space for people to stay warm at, because it's going to be too cold for people to be out here in general. Okay, see what I'm saying? So this is one canopy. Things is in line, there's food and things that's going to be in here, that are in here. We're going to have to put another canopy up right here for the people that's staying awake and keeping watch to stay warm within that canopy. And this is the third canopy for people that sleep from being out here. Okay? Now again,
so, Leslie,
go ahead.
You know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing that disruption is a part of this area here.
Yeah.
So why do you think the city of Rockford is giving so much pressure on y'all being here?
The main reason is because every day that we here, another person get reminded of Tyrus Jones. Another person get reminded of what happened on May 30th. Another person gets reminded that everybody in the community isn't happy with the status quo. And that's the thing that's most threatening. It's not the disturbance or the people being on the sidewalk. It's the status quo being threatened that's got people upset. Whether it be people who benefit off the status quo because they work for the city of Rockford, or whether it be people who benefit off the status quo because they work for the police department, or whether it be people who benefit off the status quo because of the hand that they've been dealt in life. But that's what it is. It's people. This is a constant disruption to the status quo. This is a constant reminder that the police department of Rockford, Illinois has the same corruption and hypocrisy and lack of accountability and lack of transparency running rampant in it that Ferguson had and that Los Angeles had in the 90s and still has, or that any police department as bad as any police department in the nation of this country is, this police department is just as bad. It can match it. And that's what these names out here remind them of. And that's what these signs and these people going to this type of extent. Well, let me go get some water. I'm walking with you.
Like now, every day, right? Every day, city officials are coming here to work every single day. The mayor parks right over there.
Yep, park right over there.
Parks right over there. So what is he saying? Is he saying anything to you? Anyone that's here?
The first week that we were here, when the mayor walked into to this back door to go into his office, the first day he came up and spoke to us. We had a conversation in which he asked what we were here for, what we was here for, how long we was planning on being here. We told him we was here waiting for him to have a press conference and address the shooting of Tyrus Jones, to address the ongoing atmosphere of police brutality that takes place in this city, and for him to answer questions from the media. He didn't have it, yes, I will do that, or no, I won't do that. He said that he wanted the investigation to be a speedy investigation, and he said all the things that the mayor's supposed to say, in a political, he said the politically correct things, and then, he went to work. And so that's the longest dialogue that we've had. But again, I don't want people to misconstrue. It's this concept that people have that you need to sit down and talk to somebody, and because they have this concept of like a protester and an elected official was like some type of boyfriend girlfriend thing, where the only way that these things can be fixed out is if these two entities sit down to fix those things. And maybe in some cases that may be part of the way true or partially true, but in the case in which we are in right now, the mayor of Rockford, Illinois knows all the issues that we are speaking on. This is not some type of secret, this police, the issues between the community and the police department. This isn't the first time somebody has been shot while he's been an elected official. He has been a mayor when someone else has been shot by the police department. He has been an alderman when someone was shot by the police department. So these are things that he is privy to. Where we are at right now is that we need the mayor, because again, nobody is saying that the mayor has the power to change these things overnight. But if he is the mayor of this city, the mayor of this community, he needs to come out and speak and take a vocal stance against these issues, against the police department shooting somebody without a gun in the back, against the police department or the county sheriff department pepper spraying children, against the police department arresting people for false accusations. He needs to speak about the reasons that people feel the need to abandon their home, to risk their freedom, to risk their livelihood, to bring awareness to these issues. That needs to be addressed. He needs to be vocal about it. And then from that point forward, it can be conversations about legislation that people want to always bring up. And people can have conversations about review boards or whatever else it is that people want to have conversations about. But it was a time when Martin Luther King Jr. had not came out and spoke out against the war in Vietnam. And Martin Luther King Jr. couldn't have stopped the war in Vietnam, but what Martin Luther King Jr. had the power to do was to come out and vocally speak against it, because that's taking a step. And where we are at, no, can the mayor make the state's attorney not press charges against something? I'm not sure that is something that's not within his power as the mayor. That may be something he can have some kind of sway over, but that's not what nobody's asking him to do. Nobody's asking him to tell the police department who to arrest and who not to arrest. What people are asking the mayor to come forward and do is to speak about the actions of the state's attorney, to speak about the actions of the police department, the way he speak about the actions of Donald Trump, the way he speak about the actions of the police in Kenosha, the way he speak about the actions of the police in Minneapolis.
Right. So we're just looking for him to have that same energy in his own city.
Exactly.
And the point.
So again, the forcing of taking this canopy down is the forcing of people who, I'm telling you for a fact, move up and down this community, up and down this neighborhood, unhoused, unfed, sometimes unclothed properly for what the conditions are. And we are assisting them in all those things. Again, this is right here, this is a bag. Ain't nobody selling these to unhoused people, right? These is a bag to unhoused folks. These is the bags of gloves and hats. Doing all right, how you doing today?
Not too bad. God bless y'all.
God bless you too. You good out here, my man? All right, man. Take it easy. Yep. Now again, this is not something, and I don't want this misconstrued either. This is not something that I came up with on my own, or this is not something that I'm some kind of mastermind of. Different people have contributed different pieces to what it is that's built right here. This is something that has been community built. Let me tell you something else now. Let me tell you about this, because I'm going to keep it going to this. We used to have this sign right here. At night, we used to put it up on those poles right there. Again, this public property, those poles. We would put it up there at night. We got to the point where we would take it down during the day. One time, the police came over here in the same parking lot. They put in this parking lot with 10 police officers. They put in here with 10 police officers just to tell us to take this flag down at night. That's the type of show of force that they use. If you go back, watch that other video. That's why they came with all 8 of them police officers. They came with all 8 of them police officers just to do that. Okay?
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the intimidation tactics that have been used since you've been down.
Have a good day, brother.
Now, I've heard different things, like some nights they come by and shine spotlights.
Well, that was something that happened earlier. In the first week, they used multiple tactics. One of the things that they did, they would come through, they just drive around in a circle over here, put their spotlights on. And again, I'm not complaining about these things. I don't have no issue with none of these things. I don't got no types of fears of these police officers. I don't got no types of no types of ulterior motives for saying these things, other than to let people understand the extent that these police officers and that the city of Rockford is going to try to cover up a summer of beating the hell out of people and falsely arresting people for things they didn't do, that then culminated in one of the white nationalist police officers attempting to lynch a young black man in the streets. That's what they're trying to cover up. They are trying to cover up this summer of hate that they have perpetrated onto this city.
Because every demonstration that I've been to, I've always seen that the police are the aggressive ones when it comes to using physical force.
100%. Since the very beginning. Since the beginning of these protests 5 months ago, the biggest issue has been that the police department puts property and convenience over people. That's why on May 30th, people were beat. People got beat because other people threw rocks and other people spray painted things. And so the police department wanted to take out the anger they had about that, the petty vandalism, because that's what it was. It was petty vandalism. There was no kind of structural damage done to these properties. Everything was fixed within before a 24-hour period had even passed. But they took that as an excuse to beat people, to beat women, to beat children, to pepper spray people, to tase people, to falsely arrest people. Anybody who stood their ground. Literally, if you just stood in place, you would get beat for standing in place on public property before it was ever ordered dispersal. And when they did give the order of dispersal, they did not do it correctly. To this day, the police department and the county sheriff's department do not give the order of dispersals correctly. And it's proof positive in the fact that right now the county sheriff's department is risking people getting COVID to do quote unquote riot training. And then let me address this too, because people, I've heard that this be something that people spoken about. We are fundraising and asking for donations to go to Jordan, a young man who was knocked unconscious by the Rockford Police Department while being at a protest. Knocked unconscious. He was unconscious for 8 minutes. Is that correct? 8 minutes. This is on film. Unconscious for 8 minutes. He's in jail. We've been trying to raise money to try to be able to help to put towards his bail. Okay. We have donation bins, buckets for this.
I remember that day. I remember the day. There's also photos going out with, what was the officer's name that said black women are subhuman and super strong? Well, it's him who has the blood of Jordan on his hands.
Right.
They're being very physical with people just sitting, walking, and yelling at the police.
It's because of the challenge to their authority they've never dealt with. They don't deal with people challenging their authority in this city. That's the biggest issue. They don't deal with people challenging their authority in this city. The reason that it's proof positive in and again, I'm not speaking as if I've been doing these things for years or speaking as if I'm some type of person who done spent a lifetime or a career doing these things, but in the months that I've been to the meetings that they hold, whether it be at the city hall, whether it be at District 1, it's not an overwhelming amount of people from the community there. And that may have something to do with COVID. That may have something to do with the issues that people are dealing with because of the national crises that are going on. Okay, and maybe if it was a different time, it would be more people there. But in this moment, it's not a lot of people there. So when things like the police chief calling people animals multiple times happens, it's not people there to see that that's something that's happening. Because these are problems that start from the top up.
Yeah, a lot of his rhetoric is shown in the actions of his officers.
Yeah, he called people animals twice. Camera filming, people sitting there in the listening area. It's black men on the panel. He looked right at them black men and he said he called people animals twice. And them black men, just like him, they knew what people he calling animals. He ain't calling them white boys that go to Boylan animals. He calling them little black boys that go over to Auburn animals. That's who he's referring to.
And so let's talk about the mayor for a second. So let's go back to Tom, and when you say that Tom, he said that he wanted to know why you're out here, so he knows why we're out here. He knows that we need a press conference, but in
Well, he didn't say that he knows it need to be a press conference. He didn't.
no, you said
Oh,
that
okay.
to him. You
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that
yeah,
to him.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he does know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
So he does know.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that since he knows, he went ahead and he did I guess a letter on Facebook, and they'll say,
Oh, yeah.
they'll say, people will say, so why isn't that good enough for you?
It's a Facebook. He's put up in a month since the shooting. The mayor of the city has made 2 Facebook posts. 2 Facebook posts. That is, even if somebody broke up with you, if you and somebody broke up in the way that they acknowledged the breakup to you was just through 2 Facebook posts, because that's how he's acknowledged it, because that's what the community and the mayor is. You know, the community and the mayor, that's a intimate relationship.
Yeah.
You the mayor of this city. People chose you to be the city. People campaigned for you. People probably had arguments with family members about you, over you or whatever. People believe in you. People go to bat for you. So you the mayor of the city. The way that you talk to the city about a man being shot in the back by the police department is making 2 Facebook posts. Because if that's all that happened to honor his father, that would be disrespectful. If the only thing that happened to Ho was just 2 Facebook posts from the community. And it's the same way. This man attempted to murder this man in the streets. You don't make no 2 Facebook posts about that. That's not how you break the news to the city. You don't make a Facebook post saying, oh, by the way, in the midst of 6 months of people protesting about police brutality, a white police officer just shot a black man in the streets twice in the back. Shot him 4 times, but twice in the back, unarmed, running away. Facebook post, in and out.
A long Facebook post that probably no one ever even read. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, it ain't a bunch of interactions. If you went and checked the interactions between that post and went and checked the interactions between a post he might make about basketball or the football player, you know, when he would make posts he make about Fred, you know, playing in the playoffs, got more engagement than the post that he made about this young man being shot. The 2 posts in a month. That's what he owned. After a man was shot in the streets of his city, he's averaging speaking about it once every 2 weeks.
And the things that he's saying, he's not really saying too much. It's kind of like we'll wait for this. Wait for this big boy to go past. But he's not even saying too much. Like, he's had other press conferences though, in the time frame that we've been out here, and those have been about property and convenience.
Yeah.
So I understand. I really understand your point when you say it's about property. They put property and convenience over the
And again, before we went live on a previous video, one of the things that initiated me going live was that an undercover cop came out here acting like he was working for the city, measuring stuff, talking about he was measuring the distance between the trees and the lights, which is not what he was doing. He's an undercover cop. He was coming out here to try to find some kind of BS excuse that they can arrest people. Probably got a camera on him trying to film the things that's out here. And so I'm going before they can even, it ain't no trick. This is what the problem is. This is what the problem is right here. Problem is the people in the community that's like this man right here. That maybe you see this? We've been out here for a month. The first time he brought this flag out was yesterday. First time. And that's what some people in this community need. That's what some black people need to see, is that this is what these people is like. And you gotta fight against this. And again, maybe the mayor of the city not like that. Maybe the city, the aldermen in the city not like that. But they ain't doing nothing to deter the people in the community in the city who are like that, which lumps them all together. If 4 people sitting in the car and one of them get out the car and go into the gas station and rob the store, and then he hop back in the car with them and they keep kicking it for the rest of the night, when the police pull that car over, all 4 of them going to jail for the crime. All 4. And if they're black, all 4 of them gonna do extended time for it. Don't let it be a bullets in the guns that they find. So again, we are outside City Hall, but this is the door that the mayor takes to get into work every day. Okay? This is the parking lot the mayor parked in. People was offended when organizers went to the house of the mayor, even though that's something that happens in multiple communities and multiple cities all over the place, where people was offended by that. They didn't think that was an appropriate thing. And I'm not, and again, I did not organize that. I'm not taking credit for that. However, when I was part of the organizing, part of the concept of organizing, coming out to where he works at, coming out to where the city officials work at, coming out to where they have city council meetings once a week at, coming out to where people have to come back and forth, who live in this city, who live in this area, and making it be a constant reminder that this police department is as dirty as any police department in the history of man.
Fucking Gotham around here. Because the police are operating in impunity, because anytime they're left to investigate themselves, they never find any fault in what they have done.
Again, that's what's going to happen, and that's what part of the issue needs to be, is that we as a community and as people need to be exerting as much leverage as possible onto these cops, onto the state's attorney, onto the new state's attorney, Jay Hanley, onto everybody in office, onto every police officer, until the findings of this integrity task force come out, because it's not no reason that somebody being shot in the back should be considered justifiable. It's not no reason that somebody being shot while they unarmed should be considered justifiable. And if we living in a city in which black people can be gunned down when they have no weapons, they can be gunned down in the middle of the day, and they can be gunned down, shot in the back, and that's the age that we living in 2020 in Rockford, then all the black people that's in this city need to be collectively organizing and getting together to make sure it ain't one of our babies that's the next ones that's out there getting shot in these streets by these dirty, corrupt, morally bankrupt cops.
Now, what do you say to the ones that are like, you know, we've been marching since the 60s and they ain't gonna change, so why are y'all wasting y'all time?
Again, it's important. One of the things, the main thing that has been done to us is that our history has been kept from us. And the times where our history has been given to us, it's been whitewashed, or it's been sugar-coated, or has not been presented to us in its full capacity. And everything that they was marching for in the 50s, in the 60s, and they was marching and doing sit-ins for, and that they was doing boycotts and all of the things they was doing back then that they was doing it for, they got those things. When they was doing that, when they was out there protesting, they was not trying to get a lower police budget. Okay, that's not. That was.
Who's this guy?
This Todd. Yeah, I ain't got time. I don't even got time for Todd. That's Todd. Let Todd be Todd. We again, in that time, they wasn't out there trying to highlight police brutality to a higher extent. Police brutality was happening to them as they was trying to highlight not being able to eat at a counter, as they was trying to highlight not being able to live in certain neighborhoods, as they was trying to highlight not being able to go to certain schools, as they was trying to highlight not being treated equally as humans. The police then brutalized them. They wasn't out there trying to bring awareness to police brutality specifically. That was one of the byproducts.
Yeah, that was something.
Martin Luther King, the SCLC, in some cities that they went to, they protested to get more black people to be able to be police officers. That was the thing that happened, to integrate the police force. That was the thing that was actively trying to be achieved. Nobody in 2020, nobody since the Black Lives Matter movement has come about. Again, the Black Lives Matter movement, in my opinion, traces back to Trayvon Martin up to this point, and it's about the 21st century lynchings that has been done to black people in this country, and the lack of accountability and transparency that has been behind them. So now when I say the Black Lives Matter movement, I mean the people who have sacrificed freedom, sacrificed their lives, sacrificed time with their family in the span of Trayvon Martin to now, to come out and to be in the streets and to contribute in whatever way possible. That's the movement that I'm speaking to. I'm not speaking to white people busting up stores or white people burning stores down, or speaking to people who may be in the black community who, because of the conditions that has been consistently put onto them for generations, feel the only way that they can get a piece of something is to loot. I'm not saying that, I'm not speaking my opinion on none of those things. Those things are a byproduct of these issues. That's what happened when you starve a community. That's what happened when you try to keep a community confined into specific areas. They break out and they react in that manner. But I'm not speaking about that. What I'm speaking about is the overall movement of people from year to year who have came out, who have been in the streets, who have been protesting, who have been speaking and writing books and trying to bring awareness to the fact that right now, in the last 365 days, almost 1,000 people have been killed by the police. And I guarantee you, if it was accountability and transparency in the police departments in this nation, it would not be 1,000 people who were killed by the police department.
Because you know, like I keep reiterating, it's because the police union contract negotiations are held privately and not publicly. So the union is just there to protect. The union is just protecting the officer and not holding the officer accountable.
Yeah, the union protecting them. Everything is set up in cities to protect the police departments. When you get grant money from the police, when you get grant money from the city, they send the police out there to take a picture with you, especially if it's in the inner city and inner communities, to try to let people know that this place is quote unquote safe, and also that the police has a presence in this place. That's what that is. That's a tactic. The same way in the schools, in education. The education system is set up to protect police because they want to keep police in public schools. They don't want police to become bad guys and be looked at as criminals. They want to keep these people in the schools with your kids. They want to ingratiate those police officers with your children, so that way, hopefully, when they get older, they can try to use them to be some type of criminal informants or something like that.
Like, they always try to put that emphasis on the children.
Oh, let me tell you this over here. I got to throw this on the charger.
Well, what happens when the kids get older?
They don't even got to get older. They could just be at their uncle's house or their brother's house, and they do a raid, and they gonna feel the sting of that.
So that nigga's normal.